At some point, even the idea of realization becomes unnecessary, not because it was false, but because it has fulfilled its purpose. The need to understand dissolves. The need to arrive disappears. And what remains is not clarity as an achievement, but simplicity as the natural condition of being alive. Life is no longer something you are aware of. It is no longer something you are present for. It is simply happening, without commentary, without distance, without anyone standing outside of it. Here, there is no effort to stay grounded, no discipline to remain centered, no reminder to come back to now. The now no longer needs to be remembered because it is no longer contrasted with anything else. There is no past being carried forward, no future being leaned into. Time still functions, but psychologically it has lost its grip. Moments do not stack. They arise, complete themselves, and vanish without residue. This is why this stage feels so ordinary that it is often missed. The mind expects fireworks, visions, certainty, or at least a feeling of completion. Instead, it encounters neutrality, not indifference, but a deep lack of preference. Things happen. Responses arise. Words are spoken. Actions are taken. But there is no inner contraction claiming authorship. Life moves as if it never needed permission. In everyday experience, this is seen clearly. Someone praises you, and there is no inflation. Someone criticizes you, and there is no collapse. Not because you are detached, but because there is no psychological image left to protect. Events touch the surface of life and pass through without penetrating a center. The nervous system responds naturally, but there is no lingering identity formed around experience. Even suffering changes here. Pain may still arise. Loss may still occur. The body may still ache. But suffering, as a mental loop, does not take root. There is no story built around pain. No question asking, why is this happening to me? Because the sense of me as a separate entity has quietly faded. Experience happens, but it is not personalized. At this depth, spirituality no longer functions as a framework. Teachings are not remembered. Concepts are not applied. Teachers are not referenced internally. There is no inner voice checking alignment or measuring depth. Those movements belong to a phase where awakening was still something to maintain. Here, nothing is maintained because nothing is threatened. Even the idea of surrender disappears. Earlier, surrender felt like something you did. You let go of control. You trusted life. Now surrender is no longer a verb. There is simply nothing left that could resist. Resistance does not need to be dropped. It is absent by default. Life becomes astonishingly simple. You wake up without a narrative. You go about your day without carrying yourself through it. Thoughts appear, but they do not organize identity. Emotions arise, but they do not define you. Decisions happen, but there is no doer claiming ownership. Intelligence moves through the body without announcing itself. This is why peace here is not dramatic. It does not feel like bliss. It does not announce arrival. It feels like the absence of unnecessary tension. Like a long-held breath finally released, without anyone noticing the release. The system relaxes into its own functioning. At this stage, even awareness is no longer emphasized. Earlier, awareness felt central. It felt like the key. Now awareness does not need to be named. It does not stand apart from experience. There is no observer observing awareness. There is simply experiencing without reference. This is also why teaching becomes difficult here. Words feel excessive. Descriptions feel inaccurate. Any attempt to explain seems to add something that is not present. Silence feels closer to truth, but even silence is not clung to. Life does not require interpretation. You may notice that you no longer seek confirmation from others. You do not need agreement. You do not need recognition. You do not need to share what has happened. Not because it is secret, but because it is not something that happened to you. It is the absence of the one who needed something to happen. The sense of being someone living life has quietly dissolved into life living itself. There is no ownership of experience, no claim over existence, no sense of being separate from the flow of events. The river no longer wonders where it is going. This is the end of the journey that never truly began. There is no final insight, no last understanding, no concluding thought. Just the recognition that nothing was ever missing and nothing was ever required. Life lives itself. Breathing breathes, seeing sees, living lives. And nothing needs to be said about it.